Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Robonut03, and this is Your Questions Answered.
Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be another episode of Your Questions Answered. If you're not familiar with it, Your Questions Answered is a Q&A series that I do here on this channel. So if you want to see one of your questions answered in one of these videos, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it is Lego, Star Wars, or Lego Stars related, and then check back next week to see if you make the cut. Very special thanks to Robonut for sending over that intro. I actually feel kind of bad, like I meant to use that intro a while back because he sent it to me quite some time ago, but I never got to use it. So Robonut, there's your intro, there's your 5 minutes of fame. Don't let it go to your head. First question this week is going to be from Benjamin Dury. He says, what was a Lego Star Wars set you had high hopes for, but Lego kinda goofed? This is such an easy one for me. The Ultimate Lightsaber Duel is easily the most disappointing Lego set I've ever gotten. I think just because I was a kid, and at that point, I pretty much expected every Lego set to make me happy. Every Lego set at that point was like a big deal because you didn't just get to go to the Lego store whenever you wanted. You were at the mercy of whoever wanted to take you to go and get a Lego set, and that made pretty much every set a big deal and important to me in some way. But that Ultimate Lightsaber Duel was the one set I got as a kid that when I took it home and I built it and I tried to play with it, I realized every Lego set is not built equally. Every Lego set isn't great. That was the one that really made me realize that. The biggest issue with it for me was the fact that the set was primarily built around the gimmick of you being able to control the two characters and basically make them fight each other using the little long axles, Technic axles that they're connected to. The problem with this, however, was that they didn't stay upright. It just was designed so poorly. I get that what they were going for was the mechanism where basically you could twist the bar and then make the character spin, but it was just impossible to keep the characters standing upright, and that basically made the set unplayable. For that reason, I really was disappointed by that set. In hindsight, it was also pretty disappointing that we never got an actual true Anakin Skywalker from episode 3, from that original wave of Lego Star Wars Revenge of the Sith sets that was just normal without the light up lightsaber. Obi-Wan, for example, came in that set, but he also came in the Grievous Wheelbike set. So you got that version of him with the light up lightsaber, and you also got the Grievous Wheelbike version. The only other Anakin we got in that original wave was in the Jedi Interceptor set, and he had the communications device on his face. So we never got just a normal standard Anakin without the light up lightsaber, which is kind of disappointing to me because the light up lightsabers were a cool gimmick to some. I mean, it wasn't like a big deal to me when I was a kid, and I thought they just kind of got in the way. I much preferred the versatility of having the lightsaber be removable and also the fact that you could twist it around. But nonetheless, I definitely would have preferred just a standard Anakin in that set or in any set, and we never got that. Next question comes from Rebuilds. He says, do you ever play with your MOCs? I can just imagine you swooshing your Razor Crest around. Absolutely. If you're not playing with your MOCs, you're not getting the most out of them. If you're one of those sophisticated gentlemen who builds a beautiful looking MOC like this and can't even have a little fun with it, you just build it and you sit there all sophisticated, like rubbing your chin, taking it in like a piece of art in an art gallery, then I think you're missing out on the fun of Lego. Play with your MOCs. Take a 501st Trooper, have them hit the slopes, slide down the MOC, do all that fun stuff with it. If you guys aren't doing that, I don't know what to tell you. You're not living life to its fullest potential. Next question comes from nicobricks. He says, would you rather burn all your Lego or quit YouTube? When I first read this, I thought that's an easy question. I obviously would just quit YouTube. But now that I think about it, YouTube is clearly a very big part of my life. And if I just stop doing YouTube, that means, I can't interact with a lot of you in the community, which is also a big part of my life. I'm not also just losing out on the money that I make from YouTube, which is also a big deal. So then my question became, if I had to burn all of my Lego, would it be worth it to start up another collection to build like on YouTube again? Maybe. Like, I would certainly like to keep building, so I would try, but starting from basically square one with another collection seems like probably the worst possible thing other than like losing someone I care about that could happen to me. So I don't know, maybe if I burn all of my Lego, I could start up another YouTube channel just devoted to one of my many other talents. Next question comes from Bob Kirk. He says, excellent opening question. Do you want to get the Dagon Alley? And can you do a review of the Barracuda Bay? This was obviously 2 weeks ago when I actually was building the Barracuda Bay set. It seems like that ship has pretty much sailed, no pun intended. I mean, a lot of people were telling me to do a review of Barracuda Bay, and I guess I would have liked to, but I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I'm just like I could talk about it, like I could talk about the building techniques and such, but for me to really get excited for a review, I think it really just has to be a Star Wars set. I don't know, like I don't really, even at this point, consider my channel a review channel. Like I'm obviously doing a lot more of them now, but I don't know. Maybe sometime down the line I can actually dedicate myself to doing more reviews. But like now that all the new sets have come out, I've done reviews on all of them. I'm honestly just not really feeling like doing reviews anymore. But as for the Diagon Alley set, I want that set so bad. That has to be one of the most impressive looking Lego sets I've ever seen. It's one of those sets you look at, and it's honestly kind of hard to believe that it's one Lego set. Like all the builds, the buildings are so diverse, and it's such a massive set that when it all comes together, it has presence to it, and I want that set. I actually do want that set. I think that's the set that's going to make me actually watch Harry Potter. It's a great set, and I want to feel even more for it by having an attachment to the films. Next question comes from Chandler Pounds. He says, what was the first video you ever made on YouTube? Well, ignoring the obvious logic that that's a question you can go easily find the answer to, I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk a little bit about my first ever video. So I think I joined YouTube like February in 2007. I would have been 13 years old. And I'm pretty sure my first video like that I uploaded to YouTube came pretty soon after that. It's titled, I think, PWE Sunday Morning Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. This was like a big thing back in the day. People were doing animations with a program called Pivot, which is basically a stick figure animation program. I've been a huge wrestling fan all my life, so I wanted to use that program to have basically a stick figure wrestling federation on my YouTube account. So that's pretty much like why I started uploading to YouTube. That was my main goal. That obviously didn't last very long. I think I only made two other videos based on my Pivot Wrestling Federation and maybe a couple other of just compilation Pivot videos. But it's funny to think that back in those days that was going to be such a big deal for me. I really would have liked to have continued doing it, but it was just so time consuming. Similar to stop motion, doing pivot animation, frame by frame animation is also very time consuming. And like I had far more time on my hands back in the day. You know, I was just in the 8th grade going to school. I didn't have much going on, but even still then, it was a lot to commit to, and that's probably the biggest reason I stopped doing it. I think to this day, at some point, if I could like do YouTube full time, which would be awesome, I would love to have a channel just dedicated to my animations. If you look back through the history of my YouTube channel, there's just various types of animations, those stick figure animations, the brick film animations, even some Flash animations that I used to do when I was younger. Animation was the coolest thing that I thought I had access to do when I was younger, and I feel I still have the itch to do it at this point. It's just building large scale MOCs, doing YouTube, working. All those things are a big part of my life. Like it's hard to really stretch myself around and try to accomplish all those things. But I think before it's all said and done, I really want to have a steady animation channel. I think I could really see my channel long term becoming just like Rich Boy J, the channel. I'm just doing large scale builds and maybe a Q&A series, because that doesn't really take a long time to do, and maybe the mock showcases, just because I do like the fact that I can give some other builders some recognition that they may not otherwise get. But I could see a primary source of my time being dedicated to doing animations, making brick films, because those are things that I still want to do. The last question comes from Robonut03. He says, question, who in the LEGO Star Wars community do you find the most inspirational and why? This is a question that I've gotten in different forms a lot on this YQA series, but I like the way this one's worded specifically, because it's not just who inspires me the most, but it's like, who do I find the most inspirational? So who do I think can inspire the most amount of people? And this was kind of difficult question to think about, because there's so many people who inspire me. But when I think about who has the most widespread inspiration, Brick Plumber obviously comes to mind. He obviously is the person who inspired me the most, but I think he was one of the first people who was doing large-scale LEGO Star Wars builds, and I think that even the prominent LEGO Star Wars builders today, the ones who build large-scale, will attribute him as being some part of their inspiration. So I'd say Brick Plumber is probably at the top. I think he'll go down as like the GOAT of LEGO Star Wars mock building at a large scale. Right below him, I honestly gotta go with my boy Solid Brick Studios. David Hall has been I mean, Cassian in Rogue One says, I've been in this since I was 6. David Hall, maybe not since he was 6, but since he was a very young boyo, he has been doing this Lego Star Wars YouTube grind. I can't even imagine the amount of people he has influenced to buy more Lego Star Wars sets, the amount of people he's influenced to get more in the community, be more active, and just love Lego Star Wars more. And I think that's awesome. I love the fact that there are people who literally grew up watching him, who started off, as a young kid and are now adults and have basically nostalgia for Solid Brick Studios. Like, that's just the coolest thing ever to me. I think if at some point, because I still feel fairly new in the Lego Star Wars YouTube game. Like, I don't feel like I've been doing this for a super long time yet. But if at some point I can have someone come up to me and say, hey, Jay, like, I grew up watching your videos, that would be one of the most meaningful things that anyone has ever told me in my life. Just because, I mean, there are so many things that I do right now that are influenced by things I grew up doing, right? Like, I grew up watching Star Wars, loving Star Wars, and that's clearly shaped my life in a pretty big way. So to have someone say, hey, I grew up watching your videos, I don't know, that would be very touching. So yeah, Solid Brick Studios, man, like, that dude, I hope that I can have the longevity that he has, because that's just, it's amazing. If there's one person that I really model my channel after, is his. Like, there's other bigger YouTubers who are primarily doing reviews or other things, but mock building for me is the heart of Lego. That's why I love it. That's why I get inspired by Lego. Sets are awesome. I buy plenty of sets, but to me, mock building is where it's at. And I want to see more people become prominent mock builders on YouTube. There are a lot of people who do reviews and other things like that, and that's fine. Like, people obviously care to watch those videos. The biggest YouTubers are the ones who do reviews, but I want to see more people get big on YouTube for mock building, and I want to be one of them. So that's what I'll continue to do for my channel, and I'll continue to support those people who build mocks on YouTube. But that's going to finish up the video today. Guys, I hope you enjoyed checking out this Q&A series. Like I said earlier, if you want to see one of your questions answered, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it's Lego Star Wars or Lego Star Wars related, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. If you guys like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.